When visiting an exhibition, I think that it's always interesting to think about whatever situation the artist was in at the time he or she was working. You know, what was the milieu, what were the challenges, what were the benefits? For late 19th century France and Belgium, we have an interesting situation in terms of exhibition opportunities. In the 1870s, for instance, as these artists are just beginning their careers, there were very few opportunities.
I think the art experience really was going to the state-controlled salon in both Paris and Belgium. The salon had prizes and awards, medals. You wanted to secure one of those if you wanted to be successful and get, you know, a government commission, a huge thing in City Hall, let's say, or something.
You had to be accepted, so you had to pass muster from a jury. That occurred once a year.
If the jury didn't like you, you were either rejected or your works were hung badly, because they were hung from floor to ceiling. What happened, one of the first cracks that I'm aware of in the armature was in 1855 when Gustave Courbet established his own pavilion of realism. 3 of his works, for lack of space, were not accepted. And so he broke away and had this private showing. And that ultimately led in 1863 to the Salon des Refusés, or the Refused Ones.
There was a forum that was started in Paris called the Salon des Indépendants. Well, its very name tells you that these artists were taking matters into their own hands and exhibiting independently. The whole concept of public exhibitions is actually critical to the Neo-Impressionist movement and to how it spread. When you think of Georges Seurat, for instance, his most famous painting, Sunday on the Grande Jatte, that got the whole movement started, its first public viewing was actually the last of the Impressionist exhibitions in Paris in 1886. And when Seurat's Grande Jatte was shown, some of the people who were visiting the show were actually talent scouts for a Brussels exhibition group, which was called Les 20, which is French for the 20.
Les 20 was actually founded before the independence in Paris, and both of those groups were jury-free, basically, and that was what was important. Seurat was invited to show the Grande Jatte in Brussels, which he did. There was a real affinity in Belgium. As soon as artists saw that work, they wanted to paint in that style and be a Neo-Impressionist.
One of the things we find emerging in the Impressionist and Neo-Impressionist era is the development of the commercial gallery. Artists were starting to have access to dealers who would represent them and try to place their work. It gave them an opportunity to sell their work, to have another kind of income, and also then to escape the very tradition-bound French Academy.
It had to do with really having another venue other than the salon and breaking through that, breaking that stranglehold that the salon held on artists and also buyers.